The Honourable Robin Chapple.
Thank you, Deputy President. Look, I will explain why I seek to disallow barrier bags from the regulation. In these regulations, a barrier bag means a plastic bag without handles used to carry unpackaged perishable food. These are the bags that are found at fruit and vegetable aisles as well as deli selections in your supermarkets. These are lightweight for carrying and weighing fruit and vegetables as well as fish and meat. In the government's ban on plastic bags via these regulations, only prescribed bags are banned. The prescribed plastic bag is one that is made in whole or part of plastic and has handles and has a thickness of 35 microns or less, but does not include a bag that is a barrier bag. Now, the Minister literally on Sunday was reported as saying the biggest bugbear of mine is going into a supermarket to buy fruit and vegetables and see them in plastic trays wrapped in plastic and sold. It is totally unacceptable. This, to a large degree, fixes the Minister's problem. The government's ban on plastic bags only deals with the prescribed bags. There are many other exemptions, but this disallowance deals with a barrier bag. By disallowing barrier bags, I'm essentially allowing them to be part of the ban on single-use plastics. Now, as I have done, if you dive into the marine environment, the single most problematic issue is most probably barrier bags. They're the small ones, they're the ones that are mistaken for jellyfish and are a major problem in the environment. And I have to say that in the last day we have seen the loss of the gentleman who really started the whole campaign on plastics in the ocean. And I seem to recall from a speech by the Honourable Donna Faragher previously talking about how she has been doing her shopping with reusable bags for many years now. So there are people out there doing the right thing, and I urge the Minister to support this disallowance to ensure that all plastic bags that are actually out there in the environment are disallowed. If this disallowance motion is passed, there are alternatives already exist that are in use for all types of single-use plastics, including barrier bags. The community and retailers are ahead of the government. Just as there are reusable bags for large shopping bags, there are also barrier bags that are lightweight. Many people actually get them. They're little tiny plastic ones, or not plastic, little tiny material ones in a little package. You can. Sorry? What about chicken thighs? If you actually go to your local deli, you'll find they do it in brown paper, greased paper. So you don't need plastic.
What about the trees?
Sorry?
What about the trees?
Plant more.
Yeah.
Plant more trees.
So we already have people operating in this sphere in the environment. It doesn't need. There is no impediment to this in any way, shape or form. Noting that the Minister has asked it to deal with this very expeditiously, we have also, as the Minister would know, a bill which would seek to do all this anyway, but this gives the Minister the opportunity to fulfil the very points that he was making in the Weekend West about his concern about the plethora of plastics that are getting into the environment. And just as a point on this, on the way to work the other day, I actually passed a whole heap of dustbins, and guess what? There were about 30 of these new reusable bags in the bin. We're not actually even dealing with the fundamental problem because we're just putting thicker plastic bags into our rubbish, which is a greater problem for our environment and our marine environment in general. So I urge members to support the disallowance and the fact that this will fulfil the desire of our Minister.
The Minister for the Environment.
Thanks very much, Mr Deputy President. Look, I rise to indicate that the government will not be supporting this disallowance this evening. There's very good reason why we have not included barrier bags in this in the regulations that we've moved before the place. The Honourable Robin Chapple is correct. Plastic wrapping around fruit and vegetables, so those trays that they put them in, and the Glad wrap and stuff on top is a shock and is a shame and is terrible and is a scandal. However, what you're seeking to do this evening does not fix that problem. And otherwise, can I say, while I'm very happy to get help from my learned colleagues in this place, I don't need your support on this one. I'm tackling these issues, and I'm tackling them at the behest of the community in Western Australia. What the effect of this disallowance motion would be to make the use of barrier bags an offence. The penalty would be $5,000 to retailers who supply that bag. Now, excluding barrier bags from the ban is a common sense approach because it enables retailers to meet their health and safety obligations. Barrier bags, as the member pointed out, are used on our fruit, but most importantly, because you don't have to take them on fruit, on our meat and our fish. And there are real health concerns if we ban them. Plain and simply, real health concerns. We've got food standards. The Health Department has told me that food businesses have a responsibility to protect food from contamination, to reduce the risk of cross-contamination from raw to ready-to-eat products. We don't support this. We do support the phase-out of single-use plastics, but this ban, this disallowance this afternoon is short-sighted and is not the way to go.
Members, I notice a number of members seeking the call. I just suggest members may wish to refresh their mind about Standing Order 67 and also have a look at our business paper. There are two matters for disallowance that will be put at the end of the day and at the end of the sitting day. And members might want to bear that in mind in terms of the length of their contributions. Now the question is that the motion as amended be agreed to. The Honourable Steve Thomas.
Thank you, Mr Deputy President, and I'll be as brief as possible. I'd like to inform the House that the opposition will not be supporting the disallowance motion this afternoon for a number of reasons. But let me just say that for those who are a little confused about what barrier bags are, when you walk into your local supermarket in the vegetable aisle, you'll notice there's usually a roll of them around the vegetables. You basically pull one off, you tear it off, you place in your 6 or 7 apples and you put that into your reusable shopping bag, preferably some sort of cloth item. And then you move on to the next bit. Now, we accept the government's position that a reduction in plastic in the environment is absolutely essential. If we do so, though, we have to do so in a practical manner, and we have to be able to take the community with us as we go. And I know that's not necessarily the case if you don't have to enforce the regulations, but for those who one day might have to be involved in enforcing those regulations, it is important that the community accept this as a step along the way. Now, in my view, when you pick your 6 or 7 apples up and you put that in the bottom of your bag loose, and you pick your 6 or 7 mandarins up and you put that in the bottom of your bag loose, and then you pick your 6 or 7 oranges up and you put that in the bottom of your shopping bag loose, and they all rumble around for a while because you can't. Western Australian grown, of course. When you put all those in there, and of course they wander around in the bag for a while, sitting at the bottom of the bag, rattling about for a bit, and you get to the end of that process and you go, well, we're now at the checkout, so we'll take one out and we've got to do a bit of a sorting process as we get to the checkout. And you go, if you think that people get a bit upset by the fact that they can't actually get a single-use plastic bag to put their shopping in, just imagine imagine every person shopping for their children going through the checkout, having to sort all their fruit and veg out into individual things before they put them on the scales, before they process that. I can say in my house, the removal of plastic bags is interesting because we recycled every plastic bag, including barrier bags. And barrier bags make a very, very useful recyclable tool when you put in things, particularly waste products that you can actually put in there, tie them off, drop them in there in small quantities. So we're actually now, for the first time, Mr Deputy President, in the history of my family, we're buying disposable single-use rubbish bags. And we're probably one of a number of families that are doing that now because we took our role of recycling those plastics very seriously. I think that we will adjust to that process, but let me say I think the proposal before the House right now, that is to remove those barrier bags, those things that separate your fruit and veggies and your meats and your fish, and keep them separate and a little bit dealable in the process, is one step too far. And I think common sense dictates that we actually, if we are intent on taking the community with us, have to make sure that this particular disallowance motion does not proceed, to allow us time to take the community along the path towards a significant reduction in plastic. So the opposition, unfortunately, Honourable Robin Chapel, would not be supporting your disallowance motion today.
Question is the motion as amended be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. No. I think the noes have it.